Good morning, students. I hope you are all well and fine at your home. In last class, we completed physics bridge course. In today's lecture, we will begin the bridge course of chemistry. In class ninth, you will be learning about the matters around us. We have already learned many of this concept at basic levels in lower classes. So, in our daily lives, we observe that many substances are mixtures of different components. So, let's study more about them. Mixtures. Things around us are often made up of one or more material or substances. For an example, lemon, sugar, and water made lemonade. So, many single things mix up together to form a mixture, or many materials or substance mixed together to form a mixture. So here is an example of lemonade, in which water, lemon and sugar is used to make lemonade. So lemon, sugar and water are components of lemonade, and lemonade is a mixture from which it is made up of water, lemon and sugar. So they are one different components, and lemonade is a mixture. So example of mixture: bhel puri, tea, fruit salad. Mostly we eat all the things that are a mixture. Imagine you are eating bhel puri. It contains green chili, which you do not want to eat. What will you do? So you will use your hands to remove and chilies from the bhel puri, right? So you must have seen people picking out stones from rice before cooking it. ઘરે કોઈ ભી કરિયાણું આવે, રાઈસ નહીં, કઠોળ ભી આવતા હોય, કોઈ ભી કરિયાણું આવે તે પેલા સાફ થાય તો એમાંથી કાકરા કાઢતા હોય. So these are the examples of separating components from mixture. એક એક components different કરીએ છીએ આપણે mixture માંથી. You are given 3 example mixtures. These components of each mixture are listed below. Identify each component as a useful and unuseful. Okay. Salt and sugar, both are useful component. So here it will come salt, and here it will come sugar, and salt are coming in useful components. Useless components, here salt and sugar both are useful, so useless component are none. Stone and rice, so rice is a useful component, so useful component is rice, and useless component is stone. Peanut with peels, shing, ફોફાવાળી સિંગ, ફોતરાવાળી. So useful component peanut, useless component peels, right? So useful salt and sugar, both are useful components. In salt and sugar, mixture of salt and sugar. In stone and rice, rice is useful and stone is useless. In peanut with peels, peanut is useful and peels is useless. So are any of these components harmful? આમાંથી કોઈ harmful છે? Salt, sugar harmful? No. Rice harmful? No. Stone, yes, it is harmful for our body. So stone is harmful. Peanut is not harmful. Fotru, shingnu fotru, peels, shingnu fotru, it is also not harmful. So from all the 6 components, only stone is harmful. So stone are harmful components, other are not. So not all the mixtures have useful components. Some of the components are either useless or harmful, so we need to separate them. કોઈ બી મિક્સચરમાં જે કોઈ બી મિક્સચર બને બધામાં યુઝફુલ કમ્પોનન્ટ્સ હોય એવું જરૂરી નથી. કોઈ અમુક નકામા હોય તો કોઈક અમુક આપણને હેલ્થને નુકસાન કરતા હોય. In which of the given cases it is important to separate the components of a mixture? Give reason. Lemon seeds from lemonade. Eમાંથી is the separation needed? Yes. Why? Lemon seeds are not good for health and they are useless. So lemon juice from lemonade. No, we need not do the separation. Why? Because to make lemonade, lemon juice is the basic ingredient. Mud from water. We have to separate mud from water. Yes, it is necessary because what mud is harmful for our health. Vegetable waste from plastic waste. This need to separate it. Yes, because plastic waste is non-biodegradable and vegetable waste is degradable. So biodegradable. So we can put that in a compost paste. So vegetable waste will be decomposed easily in a compost paste. So lemon seeds from lemonade, yes, because seeds are useless. Lemon juice from lemonade, no. Mud from water, yes, mud is harmful. Vegetable waste, because plastic waste does not rot, so it should be done separately. So here we talked about the mixture. So till now we saw the separation of mixture, that we need to separate this material or not. Now let's see methods of separation. How many methods are there? Hand pick method, winnowing, sewing, threshing, all these methods. Let's see how methods of separation.
The four methods of separating solid-solid mixtures are hand-picking, winnowing, sieving, and threshing. Hand-picking is used for mixtures in which the components look visibly different and are small in quantities. It is done by picking a component by hand and removing it from the other components. Here, we can see how hand-picking is being used to separate the purple berries that are ripe from the green berries that are unripe. Hand-picking can also be used to remove impurities such as dirt and stones from wheat, rice, or pulses. Winnowing is used to separate lighter components from heavier components. It is done by allowing wind to fall or blow through the mixture. It's used to separate husk from grains. Here, we can see winnowing being used to separate the husk from the rice grains. The lighter component, which is the husk, is carried away by the wind, leaving the rice grains behind. Winnowing is also commonly used by farmers to remove pests from grains. Sieving is used to separate mixtures that have components of different sizes. It is done by passing the mixture through a sieve. Hand-picking is not an option for these mixtures as the size of the components are too small or the components are found in much larger quantities. Here, we can see sieving being used to separate the impurities such as stones from the flour. Sieving is used to remove husks and stones from wheat and rice from salt. Threshing is used for mixtures with components that are stuck or joined to other components. It is done by beating the mixture against a hard surface. Threshing is used when the quantity of components to be separated is high. Here, we can see how farmers use threshing to remove grains from the plant. It is used to separate wheat, peas, and soybean from their stalks. In conclusion, hand-picking is used for mixtures in which components look visibly different and are in small quantities. The component is picked by hand and removed. Winnowing is used to separate lighter components from heavier components. It is done by blowing wind through the mixture. Sieving is used to separate mixtures that have different sizes. It is done by passing the mixture through a sieve. Threshing is used for mixtures with components that are stuck to or joined with other components and are in large quantities. It is done by beating the mixture against a hard surface.
Now we have learned some method of separating mixtures of solid components. So let us now answer few questions. Which of this following mixture can be separated by sieving? Explain why. Mixture of beads can't be separated by sieving because only fine particles can pass through sieve. In salt and stones, salt will pass through sieve and stone will stay inside the sieve. In dry leaves and flour, flour will pass through the sieve and dry leaves will stay in the sieve. Mixture of beads, that is not possible. Sada beat her dirty carpet with a stick to separate the dust from it. Name the method of separation used and give one example used this method. Separation method of separation is threshing. Give one example. This method is also used to separate grains from stalks. Anu want to use different method to separate the given mixture. Write whether the method chosen by her is correct or not. Which method should she use instead? Colorful plastic beads and sugar. Sieving method. No. Hand picking method because there are colorful beads and sugar. If we hand pick the beads from, then it will be much more easier. Then pencil shaving and dal. Winnowing, yes, because she could also use hand pick method, but in winnowing, when we do this method, pencil shavings will fly off with the wind. Floor and dal hand picking method. No, why? Because it is it will take more time. It will consume time to separate this. So it's better for weaving because floor will pass through the sieve easily. So now we have learned about different methods of separating mixtures where all components were solid. Now, what will you do to separate solid liquid mixtures? How will you separate the solid which is in mud from the liquid which is in water? So, for that, we are going to conduct an activity to separate the mud from water. Let's do. First, take some muddy water and keep it undisturbed. Now, while you are waiting, write this table in your notebook. Then, step number one, what will you do? Then, what do you expect the answer? What will happen when you do this step? And then, after experimenting that, what actually happened? So, these are the three parts in which this table is created. પહેલું સ્ટેપ કે તમે શું કરશો, સેકન્ડ એમાંથી એ કરવાથી તમને શું આન્સર એક્સપેક્ટ કરો છો, શું રિઝલ્ટ આવશે, અને પછી એ ટ્રાય કર્યા પછી એકચ્યુઅલમાં શું રિઝલ્ટ આવે છે એવી રીતે. સો સ્ટેપ 1, સ્ટેપ 2, સ્ટેપ 3. ઓકે, સો ફોર સ્ટેપ 1, જ્યારે કોઈ બી લિક્વિડ અને મડને અલગ કરવું હોય, વોટરને મડને, સો આપણે હલાવ્યા વગર 10 મિનિટ મૂકી દઈશું. તો જે માટી હશે એ નીચે બેસી જશે, ઉપરથી પાણી નીકળી જશે. તો એનાથી આપણે એક સેપરેટ કરી શકીએ. તો સ્ટેપ 1 ઇઝ we keep the muddy water undisturbed for 5 minutes. What did you do? Undisturbed. Now what do you think will happen? You think that mud will be settled down. Actually what happened? The mud settled at the bottom of the beaker. Yes. Now step 2, what we will do, that we will pour the clear water or the mud into different beaker. જે નીચે મડ બેસી ગયા પછી ઉપર જે સારું પાણી હશે એને આપણે ધીમે ધીમે કાઢી લઈશું, એનાથી આપણને સારું પાણી અલગ મળી જશે. So what did you do? We poured the clear water. What do you think will happen? We will get clear water. But what actually happened is કે થોડી ઘણી રેતી વાળું પાણી રહે છે. So step 3 શું કરશું કે we pass the water that had some mud in it through a filter paper. આપણે ગાળશું શેનાથી? ફિલ્ટર પેપરથી. તો એનાથી આપણને એવું હતું કે ક્લિયર વોટર મળી જશે અને એકચ્યુઅલમાં બી ફિલ્ટર પેપરથી ગાળવાથી ક્લિયર વોટર મળે છે. So this is step 1. Take some muddy water and keep it undisturbed. Now after 5 minutes keeping it undisturbed, you can see that mud has settled down at the bottom of a beaker. We will pour the water into another beaker. This is step 2. Still the water is some muddy. So step 3, we will pour the water into funnel through the filter paper cone. So what is step 1 called? The process by which heavier impurities settle down at the bottom of a vessel containing water is sedimentation. જ્યારે કોઈ भी એક solid ને એક liquid mixture હોય, solid liquid mixture હોય, એમાં જે heavy mixture, જે heavy component છે એ settle down થઈ જાય છે વેસલમાં, તો એને sedimentation કહેવાય, which is step 1 in our case. Step 2 is decantation. We separate the water at the top by slowly pouring it out. This is called decantation, which is step 2 in our case. And step 3 is to separate lighter impurities such as dust or leaves we use in the process are called filtration. Then we filter is called step 3, filtration. So summary, in conclusion, there are 3 techniques of separating impurities from water. They are sedimentation, the mixture is kept undisturbed for sometimes to let the solid settle at the bottom of a beaker. Decantation, the water is poured into different container without disturbing solid settled at the bottom of a beaker. Filtration, the mixture is passed through filter like a filter paper, muslin cloth or sieve. So let's answer a few questions on separation of solid liquid mixtures. So separation of mixtures. A mixture of water and semolina, suji or rava was separated using A and B. Identify method A and B. Describe the process of separation using this method. આપણે જોયું મડ અને વોટરનું એક્ઝામ્પલ. નાવ સૂજી ઓર રવા ઓર વોટરનું એક્ઝામ્પલ છે. એમાં મેથડ એ જોઈએ જેમાં સૂજી નીચે બેસી જાય છે, તો એને કઈ પ્રોસેસ કહેવાય? અને મેથડ બીમાં આપણે સૂજી નીચે બેસી ગયા પછી ક્લિયર વોટર આપણે બીજા બીકરમાં કાઢી દઈએ, તો મેથડ એ ઇઝ સેડિમેન્ટેશન and method B is decantation. Now B, describe the process using this method. So in sedimentation, the process is that mixture and suji will keep undisturbed for sometimes, and this will cause that suji will be settled down at the end of an beaker, bottom of the beaker, and after that we will take the clear water into another beaker, pour that clear water into another beaker. Then this process is called decantation. State whether the given statement are true or false. A mixture of water and milk can be separated by filtration. False. And we can separate sugar from tea using the method of filtration. False. Why? Because milk and water both can be separated by evaporation method, because when we evaporate, water will evaporate in the air. And if we can separate sugar from tea leaves using the method of filtration, false. Separation of sugar from tea cannot be done by filtration as the sugar will dissolve in the tea. We know that some substance dissolve in water and form a solution. So now let us learn a method to separate the components of such solution. In the previous activity, did the mud dissolve in water? No. But if I mix a half teaspoon of salt in water, will it dissolve in water? Obviously, yes. So salt is soluble in water. To separate salt from water, we can use the method of evaporation. So let us learn more about it. Consider a mixture of salt and water. The salt completely dissolves in water. We can say that salt is soluble in water. Now, what will happen to water if we heat a small amount of mixture of salt and water? The water will change to water vapor or being heated. Do you think that salt will evaporate if you heat a small amount of mixture of salt and water? No, the salt will not evaporate. It will remain in the container. So, separation of mixture using evaporation. Evaporation can be used for separating solids that are soluble in water. In evaporation, water is lost. For example, water from mixture of salt in water, sugar in water, baking soda in water, etc. All this method, the mixture will be heated till the water evaporate and solid is left behind in the beaker. So this is separation of mixture using evaporation method. So Reena wants to obtain salt from a mixture of water and salt. Which method of separation can she use? Give reason for your answer. Rina can use the evaporation method because salt is soluble in water and salt will be obtained when water is heated by evaporation method, leaving behind the salt in the container. Now let's see questions. Describe the need to separate the different components of mixture. State two example. We need to separate the different components of mixture so that useful components can be separated from non-useful or harmful components. Example 1 is separating stone from rice, and example 2 is removing seeds from lemon juice. So these are the two examples of separating components from mixture. Second, describe the four methods of separating mixtures: handpicking, stashing, winnowing, and sieving. Handpicking is a method of separating the components of a mixture by picking them with hands. Thrashing is a method in which mixture is beaten against a hard surface to separate a component that is attached to one component. Winnowing is a process of separating the heavier components of a mixture from lighter components using wind or blowing air over the mixture. And sieving is a method of separating fine particles in mixture from the bigger particles, and mixture is passed through a sieve, and this finer particle pass through the holes of sieve left behind the bigger particles in the sieve. Third, describe how will you obtain clear water for a sample of muddy water in 30 to 40 words. We obtain clear water from a sample of mud through the following process: sedimentation, decantation. In this method, the heavy impurities are separated. Filtration, the lighter floating impurities are separated through the filtration. This gives us clear water. So here, uh, write this all practice question in your homework, and I am also sending you a PDF. So write the whole PDF in your homework. Okay, fine. Let's meet tomorrow for and we will move forward.